Hey, good day to everybody. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I am currently driving through the city of Peru, Indiana. And I believe this is the historic district neighborhood of Peru, Indiana. Here's a little bit of information about this city. The population of Peru, Indiana is 11,510 people. And Peru, Indiana is located in Miami County. It is an hour away from Fort Wayne, Indiana. It is it's about an hour and a half away from Indianapolis. And given that, the population here is 11,000 people. So although 11,000 people does not make for a big city, it's more or less of a town, so to speak. There's enough people here to where if you were to come here to Peru to live, Peru does have their own shopping centers. They do got their own Walmart. There are places here where you can take your automobile for mechanical work if necessary. Now, as far as employment opportunities are concerned, given how small of an area this is, there's not really a whole lot of opportunities here as far as employment's concerned. However, you can you can drive an hour into Fort Wayne and go to work, or B, you can drive a half hour into Kokomo, Indiana, which, there's a few good jobs in Kokomo. They got the Honda plant, they got Chrysler, and they got some other factory jobs out in Kokomo. So you can drive to Kokomo to go to work. And the average price of a home here in Peru is, let me look at my notes here. The average price of a home here in Peru is $50,000. No, I'm sorry. The average price of a home here in Peru is $65,000. The population density is 2,256 people per square mile, which the population density here, in my humble opinion, is a little high. It's higher than what I would desire if I were looking for an area to reside in. You know what? The average home price here in Peru is $76,000. So I take back the other number. The average home price here is $76,000. Now I will say that I have seen a few homes here in Peru for cheaper than that price. They got like maybe 2 or 3 condos here in Peru for sale right now as I speak for $50,000. And I also saw a multi-family unit. It's not a big one, but it's a multi-family unit for $50,000. Which, I was about to go to the property and do a video on it, but I decided not to, because once I got to the property, I saw that there were some people already living there, renting it out. So I don't like to intrude on people's privacy. So I decided to not do that video. I was kind of looking forward to going there and doing the video, but like I said, I don't really get into infringing on people's privacy. I try to have some respect for people. I try to have respect for the communities that I drive through and do these videos on. It just makes life a lot easier for everybody, I believe. And oh, and by the way, this is the east side of Peru. I mean, this is the older side of town I'm driving through currently. I mean, this is no longer the historic district. This is just simply the older side of Peru. This is the east side of Peru. I mean, as far as it goes for finding a house that's lower price, that like the price range that I always be talking about when I do these little drive-throughs, the $50,000 or below price range. This is going to be the side of town here in Peru, Indiana, where you're going to most likely find yourself a home. Now, if I drive on the other side of Peru, which on another day I will do that video, that side of Peru is going to be a little more expensive than this side. But yeah, this is a side of Peru that if you're looking for a home priced at $50,000 or below, that's not going to need too much repairs or anything, this is a side of town where you're going to most likely find that type of home. Now, as you all can see, a lot of the houses out here are close in together. I mean, like I told you, the population density here is over 2,600 people per square mile. So just bear in mind, if you come to an area like this, this is what you can look forward to. I mean, now where I live, the population density is less than half of this per square mile. And I gotta be honest, I mean, like when I was in Alabama, looking at houses, I mean, you know, even when I was in Montgomery, Alabama, your houses were further apart, and many of your homes also came with bigger yards. Like in Alabama, I would say for the most part, the average house you purchase, whether you're in the city, whether you're in Montgomery, or whether you're in, let's say, Fort Deposit, I mean, the average size lot that you will get if you purchase a house in most of Alabama is going to be 2/10 of an acre. I mean, here in many parts of Indiana, I would say the average size lot that you're going to get if you purchase a home within that same price range, 50 grand or below, is going to be more like it's going to be more like 0.15. I'm not exactly sure what that would be in acres, but all I can tell you is if you come out here to many parts of Indiana to buy a house for the $50,000 or below range, your lot sizes are going to be considerably smaller, and your houses are going to be a little closer in together. The population density of many of your smaller towns and cities are going to be a little higher compared to Alabama. And the reason being is like I told you before, I mean, you know, here in Peru, Indiana, I mean, you know, once again, this is an old industrial town. I mean, like when a lot of these houses here in Peru were built, These houses were built to accommodate all the immigrants and all the immigrants moving here for work. A lot of the people from the South moving up here to Indiana also for work. So that's the reason why a lot of these little smaller communities here in Indiana have houses that are so close in together the way they are. Because a lot of these communities were built back in the 1800s to accommodate all the people that were coming here to Indiana to work a lot of the factory jobs that once used to be here. And I will say once again, even here in Peru, Indiana, I mean, you know, if you drive an hour into Fort Wayne or a half hour into Kokomo, you will be able to find yourself a job without a whole lot of difficulties. So once again, if you come out here and you don't find yourself a job within a reasonable period of time, it's because you don't feel like working. It's because you're lazy. Because I can't emphasize enough how solid the economy here in Indiana is. I mean, granted, there are a couple of parts of Indiana to where the economy just downright sucks. Like if you go to Northwest Indiana, the economy there sucks. If you go to Terre Haute, the economy there sucks. But if you go, like I told you on previous videos, if you go anywhere within an hour of Indianapolis or Fort Wayne, there's going to be absolutely no excuse for you to not have a job other than you're lazy as hell and you don't feel like doing shit. I'm just going to keep it 150% on this video. I'm going to keep it 150 with everybody here. I mean, because I get people that I live close to, they tell me they can't find work, blah, blah, blah. They want to talk about COVID and all that old bull crap. And I tell them where to go to locate some employment. And a lot of these individuals don't want to listen. And then they come to me like maybe 2 or 3 days later. I might see them at Walmart or whatever, and they ask me for some money. And then when I tell them to go get a job and get the hell out of my face, they get mad. And I'm sorry, but I'm not one of these individuals that's gonna walk around with a bleeding heart. If you're lazy, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you out on it. That's just who I am. I mean, there's been a lot of craziness that has went down in 2020. A lot of people got evicted, lost their drilling, and now they're out in the streets or they're living with relatives. I mean, don't get me wrong. My heart goes out to those who've been evicted, unjust. My heart goes out to those who've been evicted due to losing their job and not being able to find another job or in some way being affected by COVID. Now, for those that are in that category, that try to do something about their eviction, they tried to find work but didn't have any success, or they caught COVID like I did and couldn't do shit for 2 weeks. I mean, for people in that category, hey, I feel for those people who may have lost their homes, who may have lost their drilling. But for those who wanted to play the system, thinking that they were slick, and then by the time they found out that the CDC wasn't going to protect them, and that either A, they pay their rent, or B, they're going to be off in the streets looking stupid. I mean, for people who are in that category, I'm sorry, but I don't feel bad for those individuals. I don't. I think what the landlord did to people like those was just, They got exactly what they deserved. And I don't feel bad for them. I mean, even the single moms that played the system. And now they're crying, they're in the streets. They ain't got no place to live. They got their kids, blah, blah, blah. I don't feel bad for them either. I just don't. Because my attitude is, if you want to go out here and be lazy and play the system and lie and deceit and not pay your bills like you're supposed to, ain't nobody owes you nothing out here. Ain't nobody owes you anything. But anyways, enough of that. I mean, I'm getting too worked up here. I'm getting too worked up. I just can't help it. I mean, the position that some of these people are in right now, I've been there. I know how it is, and I managed to get myself out of it. And that's one of the reasons why I make this channel, because I try to drop videos to where I give some sound advice to people who are in hard places. I try to give advice that will help people get out of the situation that they're currently in, to where they can be in a better place and do better for themselves. I'm just not a fan of excuses. I hate it. I can't stand it. It just makes it just, I don't know, it just burns a hole in my stomach. I hate it. But anyways, even out here in Peru, Indiana, I mean, if you want to work and you want to be somebody, there are jobs that are within a half hour of this town. I mean, there's probably a few companies within this town that might be hiring. I didn't do my research to that extent, so I wouldn't know. And another thing is, if you're one of these people that maybe you work from home, obviously if you work from home, you don't got to worry about getting up and going to a storefront place and punch the clock. You ain't got to worry about all that. So obviously, if you fit that category, Peru would be a decent place for you to live if you fit that category. And I would say, just like in the other video that I did, the video that I did about Windfall, Indiana, I would say if you come out here, I mean, you know, if you don't mind the population density out here, then this would be a decent little city or town for you to come out here and live. I mean, housing prices out here are not too bad. I mean, just like in Windfall, Indiana, if anything comes up that's much under $50,000, best believe somebody is going to be right there with their checkbook ready to cut a check to buy that property. So again, if you want to live out here in Peru, just keep your eyes on the internet, keep your eyes on Craigslist, and just like what I'm doing right now, you might even want to come out here in person and just kind of drive around the neighborhoods a little bit, because sometimes you might see signs in the yard that might say for sale or whatnot, and then it'll give a phone number for you to contact. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, pretty much here in Peru, Indiana, you know, for the most part, it's fairly quiet. Not a whole lot goes on out here. Now, compared to other parts of mid-Indiana, it does snow a little bit more out here in Peru. The temperatures typically run about a few degrees colder compared to other parts of mid-Indiana. I mean, because like I said, I mean, at this point, I'm actually closer to Fort Wayne than I am to Indianapolis. So, yeah, out here, it's going to be a little colder compared to, I mean, in fact, I'm not even sure this is considered mid-Indiana at this point. I mean, this might not even be considered mid-Indiana at this point. But yeah, when I left my house and I came out this way, I noticed that out this way there was a little more snow on the ground, and the temperatures were a tad colder compared to where I live. So yeah, if you don't mind the setup of this city or town, I mean, it's a quiet little area to live, and jobs, employment opportunities are not real far away. I mean, the majority of your amenities are right here in town, so you don't have to go real far to get your basic whatever basic needs you got. You don't have to go real far to satisfy those needs. And I'm sorry that I couldn't come out here on a sunny day and do a lot of these videos, but as you all know, I live in Indiana, and around this time of the year here in Indiana, this is pretty much the type of climate that you can expect. I mean, during the winter, obviously it's going to be cold, and as you all can see, we do get snow, just like any other Midwestern state. And there's going to be a lot of dreary, overcast days here in Indiana during this time of the year. I mean, that's just how it is out here. And that's another thing I miss about living down south. Like many years ago, when I used to live down in Tennessee, I remember during the winter, even though it was cold outside, it was, on most of the days, even though it was cold, it was still sunny. It was still nice, and during the day, it was nice and sunny. But here in Indiana, you're not going to see as many days of sun as you do in the South. Around this time of the year. I mean, like I said before, I would say from late spring to late fall are going to be, in my opinion, the best times of the year weather-wise. And like I told you before, this is the reason why I wanted to spend the winter down south. That way I wouldn't have to be around here during the winter months. but it is what it is. Life happens. But definitely by next year, I'm going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that around this time of the year, I'm going to be somewhere in Arizona where it's nice and warm. That or Texas. I mean, I thought about Florida, but Florida doesn't really have a whole lot of places available to where somebody like myself can camp. Arizona tends to be a little more nomadic friendly than Florida. Because the further east you go in the United States, the harder it's going to be to find available spaces to where you can boondock. Yeah, this little street right here, I can't even talk. This little street right here reminds me a little bit of West Virginia. Because if you go to West Virginia, there's a lot of parts of West Virginia to where a lot of your houses are going to sit like real high on top of the hill. Since West Virginia is, it's got a lot of mountains, given that the whole entire state is within the Appalachian Mountains. Alright people, this video is getting a little long, so I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. And I will see everybody on the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a blessed one.